are you aware of the shootings that are ongoing in the U.S.?
Yes, I am aware, especially in public places. I know there have been some shootings in schools, elementary schools, high schools, and also in I feel like there has been a couple in malls and also restaurants. So yeah, it's kind of sad, but I mean, it's it's good that they are on the news, so we are aware of that. But it's still kind of depressing to hear that they happen so often.
No.
All right. Yeah, that's why our whole project is for. So that's an okay answer because there are actually quite a few
I mean,
that go
you
on.
could hear them on the news, but it's not like you pay attention to them because it's not here.
I just see them like on Twitter when they're trending or like on like social media.
Social media overall. All right. So, are you aware of the shootings that go on more specifically in Laredo?
Yeah.
Yeah. Where do you see those as well as social media?
Yeah,
Or
Facebook,
Facebook.
Twitter.
Here in Laredo, no, not so much. I haven't heard of a specific shooting, like on the dimension that I've heard on other states in the U.S. But I do have heard, a little instances of violence and so on, but not specifically shootings.
Yes, I'm very aware. I hear the news just about every morning before I come to work.
Kinda. I
Kinda?
hear them at night sometimes.
You hear them? You hear the
Yeah.
shootings? All right. So you are aware of the guns violence that happens and stuff like that?
Yeah.
Because there are still reports going on of them.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So since you say you heard them, when was the last time you heard one?
Probably a week ago.
Would fewer guns result in less gun violence?
It's tough to say, as in quantity, right? Like few guns, lesser guns, I don't know.
Yeah.
Well, people can still be violent with, I don't know, knives or even like a porcelain vase or something. So I'm not sure about that specifically. But I mean, the less access, in my opinion, the better.
Yeah, definitely.
I think so. I mean, I think if they made it harder to get these guns, maybe a little more time for them to be approved for them. Maybe some people will just give up and not get them. But I think there would be, if there was less guns, definitely less shootings.
Where do you stand on gun violence and why? Like, are you more for gun control or for gun rights?
I'm definitely more for gun control.
Gun control because I feel like, I don't know, it makes sense in my head. Fewer guns equals fewer shootings, and maybe there has to be like more restrictions on how to obtain a gun, like maybe more deep background checks, because I know sometimes like they don't even do it or they don't even dig that deep, and
Yeah.
you can have stuff in your record.
I guess controlled.
So,
Because, I mean, you could know how to use one, but still, like, use it in the wrong time.
I don't see a necessity for people to have access to guns at such a young age. Like I'm aware, even a teenager like 16 or 17 might have access to a gun, and I don't see the point of that. Because I mean, and it's kind of weird that you're not allowed to drink until you're 21 legally, but you do have access to a gun in a younger age than that. I mean, it makes no sense to me.
Well, everything has restrictions. The drinking age, the smoking age, the voting age, everything has restrictions. Why can't guns have restrictions? Yes, you have to be a certain age to own it, but there should be certain guns that just are illegal. Well, I'm for more gun control, but I am pro-gun. I grew up in a family where my father was in World War II in the Air Force, and then he came home and he was a tail gunner. And then he came home and he was in the National Rifle Association, which is very pro-gun. And he was always, his saying was always, it's not guns that kill people, it's people that kill people. So he was very pro. But I would argue with him because it's fine. I'm a gun owner myself, and it's fine to own weapons, but there's some weapons out there that just don't need to be in people's hands.
do you think that both sides fight for safety for themselves and their family?
Yeah, I understand both views, like you said, because I mean, they do have that in common, that it seems for the sake of their protection. But even then, they're not looking at the more details behind it.
I can see it in both ways. Like, of course, like I don't want guns because, you know, I don't want like a school shooting or stuff like that. But then I can see it like in the other perspective, like, oh yeah, you know, I want a gun, right, to protect myself.
I think the majority fight for that reason, but I think there's a lot of pro-gun activists that fight more for just to own the gun and their rights, which is what the Second Amendment, right? So I think a lot of people just want to fight for that amendment, but it's not going anywhere. Like it's the problem is still there. Like it needs to be revised or fixed. Yeah.
Like a lot of what's going on right now, like a lot of women are like getting followed into their car, they're getting kidnapped, you know, unfortunately. So I think like I can see it that way and why I would want to own a gun, but even then, like, I don't know, that's just my opinion.
Because everyone has different opinions on everything. So your opinion could be different than mine, but then again, it is your opinion and not mine.
Yeah, all right, that's it. Thanks.